Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This is Bill Bullock. I'm coming to you live from the Biblical Lifestyle Center in Texarkana, USA. It's the Sabbath of Parsha Ekev, the 46th subdivision of the Torah. We'll be studying from Deuteronomy 7:12 through 11:25. And as you know, all this year our theme has been walking in the light. We are on a quest, and that quest is to discover the secret wisdom that has been encoded by the Creator of the universe in the timeless stories of the Torah. Torah's timeless stories. And so we are approaching the Torah as a storybook, as a book of parables, as a book of proverbs, a book of wisdom. Not as just a historical narrative, not certainly as a set of laws to follow, but as a benevolent Creator's guidebook, his storybook on how to apply life lessons in real life situations that would boggle a rabbi's mind and challenge everyone to the core, and how to live a well-lived life in a very challenging environment, which is where we live. So Shabbat Shalom to you. Welcome. Let's get acquainted. Let's get acclimated into the presence of the Holy One. Let's ascend in our hearts and in our minds. Let's ascend in our thoughts. Let's put aside the things of this world for a little while, and let's talk. Let's talk about the kingdom. Let's talk about the King. Let's talk about the Creator and His grand plan. Let's talk about the beauty world and the beauty realm that He wants us to build upon the earth. With this in mind, this is the Sabbath. This is the seventh day, the day of blessing, the day of holiness, the day of reconnection, of attunement, when we reconnect with the Holy One and realign with His perfect true tone coming from heaven. I have a few questions for you, as usual, beloved, to get you attuned, to get your mind off of the things of the world, off of the trials that you see in the news, the difficulties, the anger, the offenses you see on social media or on the news, so to speak, and instead to focus upon what's happening in the kingdom. We are seated with the Holy One in heavenly places. Take your seat in the courts of the King. I have a few questions for you to help you do this, to adjust to the light of the King and His countenance and begin to acclimate your thinking to the seventh day level of spirituality. For question number one, how are you walking? Are you walking on earth in the dust of Messiah Rabbeinu, our Messiah, our Rabbi? Or do you have a rabbi? Do you have the Creator of the universe's own chosen rabbi, His teachings, his examples, His models? Do you have messianic consciousness? Are you walking in the dust of Messiah Rabbeinu? Or are you just clinging to a belief system, hoping you'll get an escape of this world into heaven? Are you, question number two, to acclimate to the heavenly courts? Are you walking daily in His footsteps, Messiah Rabbeinu, our Messiah, our Rabbi's footprints and footsteps? Are you going wherever He leads? Are you going instead your own way? Are you doing instead what seems right or expedient in your own eyes, and just relying upon His atoning sacrifice to give you theological justification and make you feel a little better about yourself? What are you doing? Are you becoming more and more like the Master, Messiah Rabbeinu, day by day? Are you growing? Are you maturing? Are you getting more and more filled with Kedusha energy, the energy that fuels the heavens? Are you becoming more and more like the Master day by day, through embracing the fellowship of His suffering, His self-denial, His giving up things of the flesh and things of the pseudo-intellect in exchange for the more beautiful, wonderful things of the Spirit? Are you using His commitment? Are you drafting off of His commitment to the will of the Father? Or are you just content to identify with a spiritual, ideological, or political label and believe your worth and your value and your purpose in life comes from such things? Question number 4. Are you in your walk upon the earth leaving a Torah-shaped and scented footprint in the sand? Are you leaving a Torah-shaped and scented footprint in your home, on your family, and on your bloodline? Are you leaving a Torah-shaped and scented footprint on your neighborhood, on your workplace, on your marketplace where you do your buying and your selling and your trading, on your forums and networks? What kind of footprint, what kind of imprint, what kind of impact are you leaving upon these things? Number 5, we're still acclimating. We're going to get to the meat of this parsha in a few moments. But number 5, in your spirit, beloved, are you hearing a divine call? A call to arise and take up your journey afresh. This is the call of the season, the call of the weeks of Devarim, of Deuteronomy. This is Moshe's call at the end of his life. Are you ready to arise? Do you feel the calling to arise and take up your journey afresh? We'll respond to that calling. Question number 6, the final question before we get into our study. Are you ready to participate in the grand redemptive plan of the Creator of the universe in a way and at a level of difficulty and impact that you have never before experienced or even realized was possible? Are you ready for a paradigm shift? Are you ready for impact? Are you prepared for impact in the world? Well, that's our beginning. That's how we acclimated. Now we're in the courts of the King. We're ready to hear his wisdom, hear the divine storyteller release his parables and his proverbs unto us. So gather around, children of the Most High, daughters and sons of the King. It's story time. Again, let's tell and retell the stories. Before we do that, let's get our ears tuned, our hearts tuned, ourselves in resonance with him. Let's sing together, if you would with me, beloved, the Shema, and we'll get started. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. And hear and heed and respond and resonate, O Israel, with these words. Our God is the Holy One, and the Holy One is oneness, a unifying unity, the ultimate oneness. Blessed be all of his glorious attributes and his kingdom forever and ever. Amen. Moshe opens the storytelling. He just has a few short weeks on earth to live now. He's 120 years old. This is the 3rd week of his downloads on the plain, the last messages this man will ever give to us. The man who has walked with the Holy One face to face as a man who talks to his friend. The man who knows the Holy One probably better than anyone else in humanity, in our world, at least now or today or even then. He only has a few days, 35 days left to live. He's telling us what we need to know. He's telling stories. He wants us to have perspective on the journey that we have just completed or that we're in the course of completing. He wants us to have a vision, not just enter the world blindly. He wants us to have vision, a vision for bringing heaven and the courts of heaven and the ways of heaven down to earth, bringing the heaven and earth into alignment, into attunement, into tune. He wants us to have a understanding of the critical blueprint for the infrastructure, the kingdom of heaven-centered society infrastructure we are to build and maintain upon the earth. He wants us to know our applicable rules of engagement with the raging nations and the peoples of the world that imagine vain things about us and about themselves and about the world and its ways. He wants us to receive the emunah, the faith, the trust, the reliance enhancement disciplines that he has laid out for us. He wants us to draft off of the Yirat Adonai, the fear of the Holy One, awakening stories that he tells. with which we need to be intimately familiar as we enter into the next course of our assignment and deployment on earth. He wants us to be warned clearly and concisely of the consequences if we fail in our mission, if we abandon our assignment, if we abandon our king, if we live according to the ways of the raging nations and the peoples that imagine of anything. He wants us to know what the consequences will be for us, for our families and our households and our bloodlines, for the world around us, and for the kingdom's grand plan in our generation. So, we started 3 weeks ago now with Ele Hadvarim Asher Diber Moshe. These are the words in the last 120 days of Moshe's, or last 36 days of Moshe's life. Ele Hadvarim Asher Diber Moshe. These are the words. These are the substantive things that Moshe spoke. And he is in the middle of a great Devarim download now. A download that is destined to become known as Moshe's magnum opus. This is the third week of that. We have 6 more weeks to study it. The prophet Moshe is blowing our minds. I hope he's freaking you out. I hope he's taking you and challenging you to the highest levels of your spirit. I hope he's shifting your paradigms with the things he's saying. And we're just beginning. He's about to get really, really into his vision and into his description of our calling. So he's blowing our minds and he's changing all our paradigms of life and of covenant and of purpose and meaning in this world. He's describing for us a kingdom of heaven-scented society. Not that somebody else is supposed to build, that we are supposed to build upon the earth for the Holy One, with the Holy One at his side, at his instruction, so that we can model the King's more excellent ways and reveal to the nations his grand plan for healing and fixing the creation and the world. So listen, beloved. Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Can you sense it? The sweet sound coming forth from just across the valley as we start our story today. Just across the valley from the plains of Moab where Moshe is speaking, there's a sound, there's a whisper coming forth. It's coming from the valley across the Jordan Rift Valley. They're coming from the land of the patriarchs. It's coming from the place we've never seen before in our lives, or if we have seen it, and we've only seen it in dreams and visions and by the conversations of our elders. But the sound is coming forth, and it's the sound of our manifest calling, manifest destiny calling to us. The land, you see, of the patriarchs has been groaning for 400 years under a heavy burden of raging nations' witches' brew. The witches' brew of Ra, evil, Shakat, corruption, Hamas, violence and cruelty, Choleh, sickness and disease, Tumah, uncleanness, fragmenting, dividing, divisive rhetoric and actions, and Toebah, which is abominations that desecrate the land and destroy its fruitfulness and are like innocent blood crying out, open up, open up. Now that land that calling to us across the Jordan Rift Valley is whispering to us, and I think it's saying something like this: I know you're out there, sons and daughters of the covenant. I know, seed of Abraham, seed of Yitzhak, and seed of Yaakov. You're there. You're just on the outskirts. You're just close to where I am. Do you not hear me hollering? Do you not hear me crying, weeping, and groaning under the weight of the Canaanite, under the weight of the perversions, under the weight of the Ra, Shakat, Hamas, Choleh, Tumah, Toebah? Do you not hear us calling? We're coming, calling, come home to us. Come home. Cross that valley. Cross that river. Come home and deliver us. And redeem us from this curse. And restore us to Edenic beauty, fruitfulness, and shalom. And heal the land. And heal yourself. And heal the world. Well, we are about to enter, beloved, a season of extreme impact. Moshe knows it. He wants us to know it as well. A season of extreme impact when all eyes in the world will be upon us. And that season awaits us just beyond the thin rim of the horizon, just beyond the Jordan Rift Valley as we re-enter the land. It will not be long now. It will not be long now until the shofar sounds loud and the cloud moves and tents all over our camp begin to collapse. It won't be long now until the divine impetus moves and causes us to move forward across the Jordan River into the land the Holy One is designed to serve as his kingdom command center on earth. And so now Moshe is ready to take us to another step as we enter Parsha Ekev, leaving Parsha Vayet Hanan behind. Moshe is ready to turn the focus of the discourse on the plain from our history in the covenant to our destiny in the covenant. The general subject matter is, do you know who you are? And do you know why you are here? Do you know what the Holy One, the creator of the universe, has called you to do? Do you know what he has empowered you and authorized you and decreed for you to do in the world, to the impact he's designed for you to make? Do you know the creator and his plan? Are you conscious? Are you aware? Are you alert? Are you oriented to who you are and why you're here? Are you covenant story conscious? Are you covenant destiny aware? Are you aware of the greater plan of the Holy One for the world and for our bloodlines and for the nations? And are you aware of and surrendered to your assigned role in it? Are you tuned in? Attuned? Are you flowing with the true tone and creative energy of heaven? Are you connected to the media of divine communication that he has released? His words, his testimonies, his instructions for living, his judgments or his decrees, his directives, his all of the things that he does, his visions, his dreams that he gives. Are you connected? Are you getting that divine communication? And are you ready because of those communications? Are you ready, beloved, to start building this kingdom of heaven-scented society, the snow globe counterculture that is designed by the Holy One to counterbalance the raging nations and the vain imagination obsessed peoples of this world by operating not on human thought processes and in sense and understanding and education, but operating instead on kingdom of heaven, Kedusha, the courts of heaven, wisdom and understanding, and thereby bringing tikkun nefesh, the healing of the soul and the healing of the world and the land through modeling the lifestyle, modeling the weight and the glory, modeling the kindness and the covenant faithfulness, modeling the wisdom and practical skill, and modeling the giving of kippur, of covering that heals, that allows room to heal. Are you willing to do that and ready to do that, to bear that to the world and impact the mortal races and nations and bloodlines of this earth in great ways and in small? Well, let's catch up with the story then. If you're ready to start this great adventure, let's start with last week's Parsha Vayet Hanan story. There were lessons in attunement, protocols, disciplines. The Holy One used Moshe to tell us how to get to know him. The Holy One is eternal, immortal, invisible, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. He is beyond our ken, our realm, our understanding, and yet he wants to commune with us. He wants to tune to us. He wants us to tune to his rhythm, to his heartbeat. He wants us to heal, H-E-E-L, as a dog would heal. He wants us to join up as a horse would do in a gentling environment. He wants us to attune with him. He wants us to bond and hold fast to him and stay with him and do what he does and say what he says. Last week, Moshe gave us some disciplines and protocols how to do that. He described for us the essential essence of our identity and our calling and our mission. He talked about how the other nations will marvel at us and how close we are to the Creator and how wonderful, how wise, wisdom, instructions of living, laws, he calls it in the King James Version, that we have, that the Holy One knows us and we're so close to him we can speak to him. He wants to, and he did last week, tell us secrets of mission focus and success, how to shema, how to fear the Holy One first of all, and then shema, listen and attune and resonate with his voice. How to begin to know him, to yada him, to experientially have a relationship with him, to follow him, to akar, to yalak, to walk with him, to serve him, abad, to ahab, to begin to love him, to develop a loving relationship with him, mutual romance of divinity with divinity, and to remember things that we need to remember and not forget those things. Those are the keys to mission success and focus. He told us about reliving and always keeping in the forefront of our minds the giving of the Torah, particularly the 10 words, the secret sauce of life upon earth. And he warned us about certain pitfalls and trap doors that we would face in the world last week. We talked about Beit Peor, the house of the master of the abyss, the house of the master of the underworld. It's all around us, but we don't have access. We have access also to the Mount Sinai, to Mount Horeb, the place of divine revelation, wisdom, teaching us how to deal effectively and efficiently with Beit Peor. So here we are. It's now Parsha Ekev, beginning with Deuteronomy 7:12. Let's get some lessons to begin with from the name of the Parsha. The Parsha is called Ekev, Ayin Kuf Vet. Ekev literally means heel. Consider the command to a dog in training. Heel. If you tell a dog, if you give the command to a dog to heel, he's not supposed to run wild. He's supposed to come to you, to join up with you, to actually go to your left heel, the left part of your foot at the left side. And he's to wait for your command. He's not to do what he wants to do, or what his flesh or his natural instincts would tell him to do. He's to wait for your movement and move with you, in sync with you. That's what it means to heel. It's often used, as this command is often used in situations where the master and the dog are walking in areas where the dog needs to be kept close. Maybe there's congested areas, a lot of human traffic, a lot of other animals, maybe dangers, and so the master calls the dog to heel and stay right with him, and therefore be kept close and under the master's supervision and influence without just doing what comes naturally. Well, that's what it means to heel. So this whole parsha is going to be about that process. The Holy One, through Moshe, is saying, my children, Bnei Israel, sons of Avram, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, all who listen and come to me through their testimony, heel, come to me. Don't go loose leash. Don't go wild. Come back to me and wait for my instructions and move when I move and do what I do. Take my tone, take my approach. Well, that's what heel means. That's what Ekev means. And you'll read in English something along the lines of if, and it looks like it's something kind of a cause and effect relationship. No, the Holy One's telling us what is going to happen when we heal. When we heal, certain things will happen. This kingdom of heaven, Synod society, that is the snow globe of excellence in the world, this will come into being because of that. So we're going to learn this week in Parsha Ekev how to leave the Master's unmistakable mark upon our world, in our day, in our generation. How to make a kingdom-scented and shaped footprint everywhere the soles of our feet shall tread. There are telltale signs, you see, that say the kingdom of heaven's people, the children of Israel, have come and been here. What are those telltale signs? Well, it's a people walking at the heel of the Master, walking with the Master, with messianic consciousness. Mashiach is coming. Mashiach is our guide. Mashiach is our king. And we are at his side, catching his vision, learning his craft. You see, the proof is in the footprints. So let us sing our call to worship, and we'll get into specific things that the Holy One is saying through Moshe in this parsha. Our call to worship is the Baraku. You're invited to sing along with me. It's in Hebrew. Baraku Adonai Hamborak. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Vayed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. So be it. And now would you open our eyes, O Holy One, that we may see wondrous things in your Torah. For we're just strangers in this earth, so please do not hide your instructions for a well-lived life from us. Last week, we left off with Moshe in the middle of the second, or the beginning actually of the second of his 4 discourses on the plains of Moab in the last 36 days of his life. He gave us a reminder last week of our essential reliance upon chen, grace, favor, kindness, goodwill of the Holy One. He gave us a reminder that that is what is the essential sine qua non of all of our actions and all of our behavior. It's not our merit. It's not our righteousness. It is his chen, his grace. That's the foundation, the platform out of which we do everything that we do. It's the only way we can do everything that we do. And he reminded us also last week in Parsha Va'etchanan of the mission to which we are called to bring the Kingdom of Heaven Synod Society into the world. He awakened in us with the Shema. Shema Yisrael, as we sang earlier today. He awakened us by giving us that language, and he awakened the Neshama, the God-breathed spirit in us, via that Kriyat Shema sound and the Vahavda declaration. And you are to love the Holy One, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength and substance. He reminded us last week in Va'etchanan of the giving of the 10 instructions for living. And he reminded us of our assigned mission vis-a-vis the nations. Now he said, toward the end, he said, because the Holy One loves you. Do you understand the love the Holy One has for you? Because the Holy One loves you, and because he is keeping the oath that he swore to your fathers, the Holy One has brought you out of Egypt with a mighty hand. And he's redeemed you from the house of bondage. Do you understand what he's done for you? He's redeemed you from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And therefore, Moshe said, know this last week, and make it known to the world that the Holy One, your God, he is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations with those who love him. So not only does the Holy One love us, we are called to love him. It is our natural response to his love. He keeps covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations for those who love him and who keep his instructions for living, his guideposts of how to live. But he said also last week at the very end, but as for the haters of the world, but though he keeps mercy and kindness and faithfulness for 1,000 generations to those who love him, but he repays those who hate him or set themselves up against him to their face. He deplatforms them, we might say today. He will not be slack with anyone who hates him. He will respond face to face. Therefore, the conclusion of last week's parsha was, therefore, you are to keep, treasure, cherish, highly value, and therefore prioritize and carefully guard, shamar, keep the commandment, the mitzvah, the statutes, the hukim, the instructions, and the judgments, the mishpatim, the decrees of what's faith, what will bring healing and redemption to the world. And all these things, he says, that I instruct you this day to build them upon the earth. Well, with that said, at the end of Parsha Va'etchanan last week, the stakes are incredibly high, beloved. There is so much raw, there is so much evil, there's so much shakat, so much corruption, there's so much Hamas, so much violence, so much cruelty in the earth, there's so much folly and negative energy, there's so much vanity and arrogance, there's so much confusion, there's so much lust, there's so much rage, there's so much greed, there's so much waste, there's so much needless suffering. The world needs an intervention. But until Mashiach comes and reigns, that intervention is us. We are sent into the world to bring a taste, a foretaste of Tikkun Olam, the fixing, the healing of the world, from souls to land, parcels of land, to the greater creation itself. This current state of creation is shattered, fragmented, and dysfunctional, and that's why Moshe is having this conversation with us, because he envisions, because the Holy One has caused him to envision us changing that. The world is full of self-idolization, of perversion, corruption, violence. All those things have wreaked havoc on creation and subjected it, even the Holy Land of Israel, to restrictions and limitations. The thorn and thistle curse, as some might think of it, that is, makes it groan under the great burden. The grand plan of the Holy One, however, is to fix all that. He will do it through Mashiach, but he will give a foretaste to the world through us, through the covenant people. And so, as we stand poised on the banks of the Jordan River and the plains of Moab overlooking the Jordan Rift Valley and Jericho beyond, as we stand poised at this strategic moment in time, the climactic era of human history looms before us, beloved. Are you ready for this? This creates a need for a faithful witness, or a group of faithful witnesses to emerge. Who? Humble, honest, Kedusha or holiness infused men and women and children and families. Families and people with an inspired vision, a proven testimony, and a rich deposit of calm, peaceable wisdom from above. Wisdom out of which goodwill and good news issues forth, with the emphasis changing from what the world does, with what's right in the eyes of men, to the emergence of God's divine government on earth as it is in heaven. His kingdom come. His will be done. What is needed now, as we stand poised on the banks of the Jordan, is a return to the foundation of Torah and to God's instructions for building that kingdom of heaven and its society. We need a Torah-inspired vision, and that's where the Lech Lecha that he spoke to Abraham, go out for yourself, be different, and go find what I'm calling you to find, and go where I'm telling you to go. That will call, and the Aseret HaDibrot, the 10 words of faithful witness that were spoken from Mount Sinai. These is where the vision comes in. We're here to fix the world. So what is your vision, beloved, as we begin Parsha Ekev, and we will spend some time, hopefully in your own homes or individually in your groups, your small groups, or in your fellowships today, talking about Parsha Ekev. I've got some more questions to ask you to get you started. How do you see yourself? And how do you see the world? How do you see your reason for being alive at such a time as this? Do you have grasshopper orientation? We're the grasshoppers. They're the giants. They're too big for us. The world's got too many problems for us. We're just victims. Do you have a victim mentality and a victim vision? Do you feel like you're being persecuted? Do you feel like it's unfair? Do you feel like you've been treated badly? Do you feel like it's somebody else's fault and blame is what we're here to give? Or do you have a victim orientation and vision? Do you have an entitlement orientation? Do you think you're privileged? You should get treated better than you get treated. You should be able to have more than other people have. Do you have that kind of an entitlement? What is your vision for yourself and for your family and for the world? Do you have a taker orientation? What will the world give you? What does the world owe you? The world owes you nothing. We are given the precious gift of life and of speech and of thought and of impact. Use it wisely, but don't demand anything from it. Do you have the vision or the viewpoint for the world that everything's about ethnicity and ideology and money and power? Do you have that kind of a vision? If you just get more money, or if you just connect with the right ethnicity, or you just say the right things about the other ethnicities that are bad, was that going to help you? Is it going to make it better? No, it won't. What do you have? All's fair in love and war orientation? If I get by, whatever I got to do to get by, I get by with a little help from my friends. Or do you have a bigger vision? Do you have a kingdom vision? Do you have a vision that with the Holy One's guidance, at his heel, we can bring light, life, health, and peace to our little corners of the world. Well, that's where we are. Moshe's kingdom objective, his vision is that we may live, he said. We may live abundant, fruitful lives and multiply, expand in our influence, and go in and possess the land concerning which the Holy One swore our fathers. That's to be the snow globe the world will look at. That's to be the launching pad for the invasion, the peaceful invasion of the world by the kingdom of heaven, Synod society. He's going to say, every place on which the sole of your foot treads will be yours. That's what he will say in this week's Parsha. Every place on which the sole of your foot treads will be yours, from the wilderness and Lebanon and the river to the river Euphrates, even to the western sea, which we think of as the Mediterranean. All this shall be your territory, under your influence and under your impact. And no man will be able to stand against you. And the Holy One, your God, will put the dread of you and the fear of you upon all the land where you tread, just as he said he would do to you. That's the promise of Parsha Ekev. How do we get there, though? There's a process. There's an action plan. And we'll get into that just a little bit later. Let's go on into the plan, is in the scroll. Political rhetoric and theory will never fix the world. Social justice and equality movements, so-called, will never fix anything. Governmental programs will never solve any problems. Wars, revolutions, rebellions, insurrections will never fix anything, nor will riots or protests. Institutions and organizations, charitable or otherwise, will never fix the world, nor will educational, informational, doctrinal types of approaches. It's going to take something else to fix the world. It's going to take Mashiach. And until Mashiach comes, it's going to take people, families, men, women, and children, households following the Torah at the heel of the Holy One. Torah is the treatment for the disease the world has suffered from. Mashiach is the physician in charge, but we are his technicians and his nursing crew. What we're called to be is nurses and physicians' assistants to administer the treatment of Torah in proper dosage, in proper timing, in the environment and with an appropriate bedside manner that is prescribed and directed and overseen by the great physician, the physician in charge, the Holy One himself. And we are to make ready and everything else ready around us in anticipation of him making his rounds. So let's talk about how we're going to walk the walk. Let's talk about wherever our feet may tread or darash or begin to move and walk, what we're to do. What are the secret disciplines needed to successfully make tikkun olam and take tikkun nefesh and tikkun edits to the world? Well, the questions begin to be, again, here are more questions. Who is your leader? Who are you following? Who are you at the heel of? Who are you the mouthpiece for? Who are you serving? And what is your message? What has been given to you to speak to the world and to your family and to the nations and to your marketplace? What is your message? What message are you carrying? What is the form of light that you're carrying? What strategic task have you been assigned and deployed to accomplish? Do you know what your rules of engagement are with regard to the nations and the peoples and the enemies around you? Do you know what the world is supposed to know about our mission, our duty, our tasks? Are we doing this stuff right? Well, this week in Parsha Ekev, we're going to have a series of lessons on that. The first thing he wants to talk to us about is the blessed and highly, maximally impactful state of those who Shema, Shamar, and Asa, his instructions. If we will heal, if we will come to him, if we will follow him, if we will walk with him and we'll let him lead, and we will let his grace flow out and let his wisdom pour into us and out of us, then what will be the blessed state and the maximally impactful state of such a people? That's chapter 7, verses 12 through 15. It's amazing. The second part of the parsha will be a first phase of deployment. He says, when you go into the land, you've got to displace. You got to take the place of and offset and counterbalance the corrupting influences and abominations. You have to be aware this is not some Camelot. We must displace. We must offset. We must counterbalance the Ra, the Shekat, the Hamas, the evil, the corruption and the violence and cruelty, the folly and the vanity and the uncleanness of this world. We must provide something, healing, that displaces those things. The third thing is going to be a call. The third thing that Parsha Ekev will contain will be in verse 1 of chapter 8. A blueprint will be laid out for the kingdom of heaven sent in society we are to build. In verses 2 through 5 of chapter 8, he's going to tell us what the wilderness trials and tests and the journey we just undertook to get to where we are was really all about. The Holy One was testing us, seeing if we would shema, if we would heal, and if we would shema and shamar and asah his instructions and do what he does. The next part, Deuteronomy 8:6, will tell us what lessons we should have learned in the wilderness. Lessons about what we value and prioritize, what we keep, shamar. Lessons about how we walk and when we walk and with what mood and attitude we walk, yalek, and what we fear and don't fear, what we revere, what we are in awe of and reverent toward, what we wonder of and what we're not. The sixth part of the parsha will be in Exodus or in Deuteronomy 8:7 through 9. It will be a description of the Edenic blessedness that has been decreed for the land of Israel. The snow globe model for the rest of the world. Israel is supposed to be the most beautiful place on earth, the most fruitful place on earth, the most unique land mass on earth with the most blessing pouring out of it. Edenic blessedness is supposed to be the foretaste for the rest of the world in the Messianic kingdom to come. So he's going to give us that. Then in chapter 8, verses 10 through 21, he's going to call us to the Torah again. This is your lesson. This is your cure to give to the world for its brokenness. He says, treasure it and cherish it and do not forget. But instead, he's going to tell us things to remember. Remember. Always, the gift of memory is such a key factor of the Torah. For those who forget what the Holy One has done and what he's called us to do, how can we possibly bring about the Tikkun Olam plan and the kingdom of heaven sent in society? Then in chapter 9, verses 1 through 5, the Holy One's going to explain how the land that we see across the Jordan Rift Valley, how the land that we're supposed to take in our own world, how the land is taken. We don't go into it as conquerors. We are at his heel, following his instructions, doing what he does. And he clears the land, and we are his cleanup crew afterwards. And then we see in chapter 9, verse 8 through chapter 10, verse 11, we see warnings of the sin triggers of our flesh and our pseudo-intellect. He tells us what it's like. He reminds us what it is to have a fallen mind, will, and emotions, a fallen nephesh, and a reprobate mind, and what the dangers of that are to our mission, both when it happens in us and when it happens in those around us. Then in chapter 10, verse 12 through chapter 11, verse 1, he tells us what the Holy One expects and requires from us. He doesn't want us to be wondering what we're expected to do. He gives us specific instructions as to what the Holy One expects and requires from us. In chapter 11, verses 2 through 9, he reminds us about the divine faithfulness to covenant the Holy One has given and promises that will be there for the future. And then he tells us a very important secret to watch the rain, the new testimony, the new witness that is only in Israel, in the land of Eretz Yisrael, is the witness of the rain, rains in season, the latter and the former rains. And then he closes the parsha with chapter 11, verses 13 through 25. He says it's another call to the Torah. And if we will stay with the Torah, stay with the Holy One's words, then the kingdom of heaven, sent in society, will come by itself, and the fruitfulness will come. Well, it's all about what happens when the heel of B'nai Elohim, the sons of God, are exposed to and make contact with the thorns and thistles and the raging nations of the earth. what happens when the heel touches the earth. In Genesis 3:15, we were told, the Holy One said to the serpent in the garden, I will put enmity, hostility between you and the woman, talking about Hava, and between your seed and her seed. Hu yeshufecha rosh, and he will bruise, it says in English. He will stalk, he will lie in wait for, and he will make a plan to strike your head. That's the head of the seed of the woman. We'll do that to the seed of the serpent. V'ata teshuvenu Ekev, but you will bruise his heel. Ekev. We understand where this parsha may fit in with the greater plan of the messianic awareness and consciousness. We are to be the forefront, the forerunners of the heel of Mashiach. The first aliyah, the first part of the Torah, portion Ekev, focuses on the great blessing package that flows from keeping the Holy One's ways. It includes the very special blessings upon the land of Israel and our chance to be connected to it. It also talks about the importance of trusting in God's protection and warns us against loose leashing, not being healed, not being at the foot, at the heel, and in the direction of the Holy One. Loose leashing. I called it wilderness mess. So in the first aliyah, we have a memory discipline. He says what to remember. Don't forget. Remember this. Remember that the Holy One, your God, he says, led you all the way these 40 years in the wilderness. Why? To humble you and to test you. We must stay humble. We must be understanding we're always being tested. Everything in life is a test. We don't get to react to it like the rest of the world does. We have to understand what is the purpose of this situation in the great plan, and what are we to do with it to bring tikkun into the situation. So he led us all the way in the wilderness, 40 years, to humble us and to test us, to know what was in our heart. Do we even know what's in our heart? To know what was in our heart, whether we would treasure and cherish and carefully guard his mitzvot, his instructions for life, or whether we would not. He said, know this, that a man does not live by ingestible food, bread alone, but by every word that proceeds, every debar that proceeds from the mouth of the Holy One. And he gave us not just a memory discipline, what to remember, not to forget, about the way the Holy One led us those 40 years in the wilderness. He also gave us an action discipline. The Birkat Hamotson, it's called, the blessing after the meal. This is a unique portion to the Hebrew people. The Hebrew people of the covenant they don't just pray before the meal, although we do a Hamotzi. After the meal, we say a special blessing because the Holy One told us through Moshe in Parsha Ekev. He said, when you have eaten, that's after the meal, when you have eaten and are full, you are to bless the Holy One your God. Give thanks to him, give honor and praise to him, and release him to do more for the good land that he has given you. So we say, blessing are the Holy One for the food and for the land. Now, what is the blessed state? What is the maximum impact wielding state of people of the covenant? People who Shema, treasure and cherish, and then build the mishpatim, the judgments of the Holy One upon the earth. Here's what it says in the Torah, Parsha Ekev. V'haya Ekev, if, as, and when you heal. You join up like a horse that's being gentled, or you come to the foot as a dog being trained. If you heal, if, as, and when you heal. Tishmeun et ha-mishpatim ha'eleh. And when you collectively shema, treasure, and resonate with these mishpatim, these instructions for how to make things better in the world, Ushmartem ve'asitem otam, and you collectively, as a people, shamar and asah them. V'shemlar Adonai Elohei kalak, then the Holy One will shamar and keep with you. Et habrit ve'et hachesed, the covenant and the covenant faithfulness and kindness. Asher nishba lavoteika, that he swore to your fathers. V'he'esir Adonai mimcha kol koli. And the Holy One will take away from you all the sickness. This is the blessed state and the maximally impactful state when we get closer and closer to Mashiach, as we heal in the physical sense, like a dog would heal to his master. As we come to that to the Holy One will take away from you all sickness. V'chol madneh mitraim ha'ra'im, and he will afflict you with none of the diseases, the terrible diseases that you knew in Egypt. Asher yadodata lo, as you have previously known. Yasimam vach unantanam b'chol hinseneka, but he will appoint all those things on those who arise against you and threaten genocide against you. V'ha'aveka uvereka, and he will love you, pour out his love upon you, and he will bless you, v'hirbecha, and he will multiply and expand you, your influence and your territory. Uvarak pri b'neka, and he will bless the fruit of your womb. Upri adametecha, and he will bless the fruit of your land. Baruch tiyeh mikol ha'amim, and you will be blessed above, beyond all peoples and nations. Lo yiyeh v'cha akara, and there will not be a barren male or a barren female among you. Uvi heimka, nor among your livestock. Now what activates this blessing flow? What activates this blessed state? What activates this maximally impactful status of the people of the Holy One? What can we do to get there? What do we need to do to get there? What's the secret? What's the key? What's the secret wisdom encoded in this timeless story? Tishmeun et hamishpatim ha'ele. When you shema, if you shema, to the extent you shema these mishpatim, he says. Ushmartim, and you shemar them, you treasure, you cherish them, you guard them carefully, you prioritize them. V'asitim, and you build them like a craftsman builds according to a blueprint. You build something functional and beautiful out of raw materials. If you do this with my instructions and my ways, then this will happen to you. All these blessings will come upon you. These are the passages. But what are these mishpatim he's talking about? What are mishpatim anyway? We've heard about mitzvot, commandments, we call it in English. We've heard about edut, testimonies, we've heard about in English. We've heard about chukim, or ordinances, or directives that we've heard about. We've heard what's mishpatim? Creative, empowering decrees and directions of the Holy One that bring an energizing mixture of personal and national and communal healing. It's all about healing. The mishpatim are all about healing, about fixing the problems, not about blaming someone or assigning fault or punishing someone. The mishpatim are about healing and what to do to start the process of restoration in difficult and potentially divisive and destructive situations. Mishpatim are present to future focused courses of action, strategies that the Holy One says are necessary in his wisdom, necessary, appropriate, and advantageous to fix specific problems and advance the Holy One's redemptive and restorative agenda in the earth. In the context of Torah, the mishpatim are our bridegroom king's brilliant thoughts, his own mind, his own ideas, his own wise resolution effecting decrees about the rubber meets the road kind of issues that he knows are going to arise in the course of our natural lives. Mishpatim are what Mashiach would do, what Messiah would do, will do, think and say and prioritize when he, and through him we, are faced with the kinds of challenges that life in the mortal body presents. Mishpatim are the kind and quality of wisdom upon which a healthy, thriving nation is built. A kingdom of heaven-centered society is formed and shaped and begins to operate. Mishpatim. Think of them as divinely inspired, solution-focused responses to human folly, to foible, to misery, or pathology flowing from Ra, Shakat, Hamas, and the other negatives of the world. Forward-looking, kingdom of heaven-centered, Elohim's signature bearing tikkun olam strategies. That's what mishpatim are. As opposed to what the world offers when something goes wrong. Revulsion, retribution, vengeance, blame. The Holy One offers solutions, resolutions, and healing. So we are in this process of learning what these mishpatim are and what happens if you get the mishpatim. Specifically, he's going to tell us. He says that we are to have this wonderful blessed state, this state of maximal impact when we are blessed above all nations. But the key to the whole matter is shemaring, and asai. Heeding, resonating with, cherishing, treasuring, and carefully guarding and watching over, and then building as a craftsman builds from a blueprint, doing all those with the mishpatim, the ways the Holy One says to fix the world. Then we have the second aliyah, chapter 8, verse 11 through chapter 9, verse 3. The second set of this portion says Moshe is going to warn us the potential pitfalls of two things. One, our own prosperity. We may think we earned it. We may think we deserve it. We may think this all is because we're somehow better than the rest of the world. He wants to dispossess us of that idea. The second issue he warns us against, not just prosperity, but also idolatry. Whenever we begin to leave the heel of the Holy One and go sniffing around and the idols that the world is following, the things the world considers to be important, and the things the world builds up and prioritizes, and the raging nations cry and scream about. The second aliyah has a memory discipline as well. A memory discipline says to remember. Remember, he says, the Holy One your God, for it is He who gives you power to produce wealth. It is He who gives you power to produce wealth, in order that He may establish His covenant. That's why the wealth is there, not so that you can enjoy it. It's so that He may establish His covenant that He swore to your fathers. But if by any means you forget the Holy One your God and follow other gods, then bad things will happen. And he gives us an action discipline as well in the second aliyah. He says, acknowledge today, understand and know and acknowledge today that the Holy One is your God. And He is the one who goes over before you as a consuming fire. And He will destroy and subjugate those who are filling the world with Ra, Shakat, and Hamas before you. He will do it, and you can come behind them, drive them out, and displace them quickly, as the Holy One has decreed. And the third aliyah of the Parsha Ekev is chapter 9, verses 4 through 29. In that section of the Parsha, Moshe reminds us about the golden calf incident and its aftermath, and other failures along the way in the wilderness. And he tries to illustrate this way the consequences of what happens when we do not heal, and we do not shema, and we do not shamar, and we do not asa Torah. He wants to tell us how to ensure that we maintain humility and not arrogance in the world. So he gives us a memory discipline again, another third memory discipline. He says, remember! He likes to say that because he knows we need to remember things and keep them in the forefront of our mind and rehearse them from time to time. Remember! Do not forget, he says, how you provoked the Holy One your God to wrath. Even at Horeb, under the betrothal huppah at Horeb, even at Horeb you provoked the Holy One. He's talking about the golden calf. And at Taberah, and at Massa, and at Kibrot Hata'ava you provoked. And likewise at Kadesh Barnea, he tells the story. Reminds us that we should not get proud and arrogant, not think we're somehow better than the rest of the world because of our ethnicity. There's no ethnicity that's better than another. All humans are joined together and under the same problems unless we heal to the Holy One. Then there he gives us, along with this memory discipline in the third aliyah, he gives us an action discipline. He says, acknowledge now, do it, acknowledge it, say it, that the Holy One your God is not giving you this good land to possess because of your own righteousness. For you are a stiff-necked people. Do you understand? We all have, all we have through the grace and the mercy of God. We do deserve nothing. He gives it to us for the sake of His creation. And He uses us despite our failures. Then the fourth aliyah, chapter 10, verses 1 through 11. Moshe reminds us in this aliyah, this portion of the most precious gift the nation received, that we have ever received, that earth has, humanity has ever received. Our nation's center of gravity, the tablets, the 2 stone tablets engraved by the very finger of the Creator of the universe with His wisdom, His basic outline of wisdom for the earth, of what mankind's life should look like, how we become people of the footprint of Mashiach. He wrote, Moshe says, he wrote on the tablets according to the first writing, the 10 words, the 10 dibrot, that he had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And the Holy One gave them, these tablets, to me, he said. And I put them in the ark, and there they remain. The fifth aliyah, chapter 10, verse 12 through chapter 11, verse 9. In this case, Moshe tells what's the right and expected response to all the things the Holy One has done and promised to do for us. What is the right and expected response to the special calling that we've received and the blessings that we have received? What is the right and expected response? Here's what he says. And now, O Israel, what does the Holy One your God require of you? But to fear, to revere, to be in awe of the Holy One your God, to walk in all his ways, to love him, and to serve the Holy One your God with all your heart and with all your soul, and to shamar and treasure and cherish his words, his instructions for life, and an action discipline. He says, therefore, circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Be stiff-necked no longer. Do you hear me, beloved? Do you hear Moshe's cry? Do you hear the land calling out as well? Do you hear the world saying, please come? Circumcise the foreskin of your heart. Be stiff-necked no longer. Love the stranger, for you were strangers in Egypt. Fear, revere, be in awe of the Holy One, and serve him, and hold fast to him. Cling to him, for he is your praise and your God. The land which you cross over to possess, the land. It's a special land. It's a land that will be the model for the rest of the world for the time of redemption. He says, the land which you cross over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of heaven. A land the Holy One your God walks on, he treads upon, he derashes. The eyes of the Holy One are always on this land. Mereshit Hashanah ve'ad acharit Hashanah, from the beginning of the year, the head of the year, to the end of the year. And then he says, if, as and when you treasure and cherish my instructions for life with which I enjoin you today, and love the Holy One your God and serve him with all your heart and soul, he says, I will give you rain in its season, both the autumn and the spring rains. And I will provide grass in the field for your cattle, and you will eat and be satisfied. Ah, beloved. Then he concludes the portion, Parsha Ekev. If, as and when you treasure and cherish and shamar all these mitzvot, these instructions for life, and you love the Holy One your God, and you walk in his ways, and you hold fast to him like we've been talking about, the Holy One will do this. He will drive out all the nations before you. And you will dispossess greater and mightier nations than yourselves. And every place, beloved, every place on which the sole of your foot treads will be yours. From the wilderness and Lebanon to the river Euphrates, to the western sea of the Mediterranean, all this will be your territory, your home base. And no one will be able to stand, no man will be able to stand against you. And the Holy One will put the dread and the fear of you upon all the lands where you tread. Oh, beloved, if you bear the footprint, if you heal, if you come to him, if we will but put aside our own urges and desires, deny our flesh, join the Mashiach in his suffering, and begin to say, I want to do the will of the Holy One. That is my delight, to do your will. If we surrender that, and if we begin to walk in accordance with his instructions and follow his lead, oh, beloved, the possibilities are endless. Healing can come. Restoration can come. Redemption can come. And Mashiach will come. To be continued. See you next week. Shabbat Shalom.